Now, we're going to talk about students and university and life on the campus with our campus correspondent, first year student at Durham, Sophie Corcoran. Good evening, Sophie.
Hi, Kev.
Uh, let's talk first about students have been through a terrible time last year. I know you weren't up at Durham then, but I've got a few kind of friends who've been at university, and the COVID crisis completely wrecked their lives. They weren't allowed to go to college. They have to do everything by Zoom, and they're expected to pay the same 9,000 quid as if they were there. So an absolute disaster for them. Now they're sort of filtering back. More and more universities have let the students back, like where you are. And guess what? The lecturers are threatening to go on an all-out massive disruptive strike. This just isn't fair to the students, is it?
No, so those people that are third year students would have spent their first year having strikes. A lot of universities actually had strikes when they would have been in their first year, so 2 and a bit years ago. So their first year would have been ruined by strikes and then COVID towards the latter end. Their second year, the whole thing was ruined because of COVID. And now in their last year, again, they're going to face even more strikes, and they get to pay for the privilege of not having an education. And it makes no sense, because in what other product in the world would you pay full price for a broken product? Because education is a product.
Yes, this is members of the University and College Union who are protesting about pensions, work conditions, levels of pay, the usual stuff. But I mean, it strikes me that these people, if they're really serious about this, I mean, do they care about the students at all?
No, I don't think any teaching union has. They've proved it, tenfold in COVID. Not one of them cares about that. All they care about is trying to make either jibes at the government or make bosses' lives difficult.
They say that they're suffering from high levels of stress and poor psychological health due to increasing workload and multiplying demands on time. Well, they can't have been multiplying demands on time where they're having to do all the lectures on Zoom. That takes less time, doesn't it?
And I think all of us students are at the same time struggling from, again, increased stress and psychological harm because of the fact that we're now trying to do an education with half of the help that we were promised, and we get to pay for that, which is wonderful, of course.
Indeed. How are things at Durham at the moment?
It's, again, with the strikes, is frustrating. This week I went on GB News to speak about my uni offering sex work training.
What? Sorry,
Yes.
say that again.
So my uni basically trained people to get in the sex industry. I know I had the same reaction to you when I saw it. I went through the emails to look for the NUS delegate because I want a cool scene, and I saw that, and I was like, "You've got to be joking me, surely." But yeah,
was that one of the things you had in mind when you set out to get to one of the best universities in the country, Durham? You thought, well, when I get up there, I hope they tell me about career opportunities in the sex industry.
Yeah, I think it's an odd university to choose to do that, because surely we are some of the most brightest people in the country. So you'd assume that we wouldn't need to go into sex work. But I think it's a way of preying on people's vulnerabilities, because we all need money, right? We're all poor. So it's really, really, deeply irresponsible, because people do want to make money, and then they get themselves into an industry that's incredibly dangerous, which they can't get out of, really.
Well, I think it's sort of a fairly unusual thing for any university to offer, but to take particularly one of the top ones like Durham. Hang on, so where, if you wanted to get this information about working in the sex industry, who's offering this at Durham?
Our Durham Students' Union are offering training sessions to both students and staff. And what makes this even better, Kevin, is that there's different levels of training. So you have to pass stage 1 to get onto stage 2.
To become a sex worker?
Yeah.
Who's doing the teaching?
I'm not sure.
Dare I ask?
I hope there's not a physical exercise. But anyway, on the actual DU email, it just says, sign up. So I think there's like industry professionals doing it, I think I read, but I
Extraordinary. It's
can't.
extraordinary. Have you been following at all the story about ethical donations to university? So it turns out Oxford's taken a load of money from the Mosley family. Oswald Mosley, of course, being a Nazi fascist sympathiser, ran the British fascist movement. And it turns out that Oxford University has taken a lot of the Mosley family money, millions and millions of pounds. So there is a call to end the fascist funding of top colleges like Oxford. What's your feeling about that?
Well, I think that's going to be an interesting one for the students in Oxford, considering those are the same ones that wanted to like down a portrait of the Queen because it offended them. So I'm looking forward to seeing how that's going to play out with the students. It's not going to go down well at all, but I don't think those students will be complaining when that money goes towards their bursaries and their scholarships. I think, you know, it's money at the end of the day. It's money for the students. And I think it was it Oxford as well, or was it Cambridge? Can't remember. I always get the two mixed. That took a donation and is now renaming one of their colleges after one of their donors, despite the historical name of the college. They've taken the donation and decided, well, they've given us enough money, so we're going to now name the college after them.
It's a Cambridge college, apparently.
Yeah, I thought so.
So you enjoying it, Sophie?
I didn't at first. I didn't really like it at first, but I am enjoying it now. I'm starting to sort of get used to it all and all the drama that comes with it, I suppose.
Well, drama for you, because last time we were talking, you said you got sort of screamed at in the street by someone who wasn't too keen on your political views. Are you still having problems in that area?
I haven't this week. I think the Students' Union are out to get me, I think, a little bit. But to be fair, I'm not too bothered. I'm going to hopefully next year, because the NUS delegates have already gone, I'm going to run for NUS delegate and be a pain in there.
Yeah. Well, no, you'll be a good pain in the backside. Last question. Kathleen Stock, of course, forced out of Sussex University for saying for her belief that you cannot change your biological sex. Has now cropped up. She's taken a new job at a new anti-cancel culture university, which welcomes academics treated like thought criminals. I'm not quite sure what this place is. The University of Austin. That's a new university in America. That's Austin, Texas. So that could be. I think I'm seeing a future for you here, Sophie.
Yeah, that's when I first read it in the news. I was like, "Oh, where can I sign up?" Yeah. My sister lives in Texas. My older sister, I go live with her. Go to uni in Texas. I was like, "Is it too late to move now?"
Well, you could think about it. I'll tell you one thing. I know Austin a bit. It's a lovely, lovely city.
Yeah. That's usually where I fly in when I go on holiday to Texas every Christmas. But I'm really, really happy for Kathleen Stock. I think this university is a little bit of a witches who refuse to be burned kind of situation with the people that are involved. So, you know, people have tried to cancel, but they just refuse to. And hopefully it will serve as a model of what university actually should be. We might actually see for the first time in a long time a university that actually acts as an institution to breed thought rather than to put their thoughts into students' heads. And hopefully we'll start to see a model example of what we should follow.
Well said, well said. I think it's a very good move, and congratulations to Kathleen Stock, who's being treated abominably. Couldn't agree with you more. Always a pleasure to talk, Sophie. Let's talk again soon.